Alright guys, welcome back. So I took the deck to locals. I was not able to go last week, but I made sure I was able to go this week because I wanted to test out this theory, and it worked out fine. We were discussing it in the Discord. If you're not in the Wolfgrounds Discord yet, the link is in the description. Go ahead and join. We just hop on the voice chat, just theory craft. Majority of it is considered cope until it becomes reality, and that's just the nature of the conversation, the way it starts, initiates. It's really funny. But nonetheless, it was a theory I wanted to test, and it's a bit, I guess, the way you can view it, it varies from perspective to perspective, but more or less, it'll be apparent that it seems like, okay, you just want to win a dice roll. Well, that's kind of the point, right? You want to ensure that you have a strong turn one, game one, if you do end up winning the dice roll. But yeah, let's get straight to it. Once again, ratios should not be changing anytime soon. Triple Stardust, triple Junk Synchron. These cards just amazing. Building off of Chaos Ruler. Just the best Synchrons for sure. If you watch the previous deck list where I was showcasing the level 1s, I was going to play that, but I ended up changing the build last minute. So I was not able to fully test that theory. But nonetheless, this theory works. Double Warrior, triple Junk Converter allows you to extend past interactions that your opponent might have. Makes it really obscure for them to interact with you. It's harder for them to anticipate the moment you have like tokens and Jet Engrave, you know? Makes it really weird. Same thing with Converter. It makes it really weird to where they can't ash you. So more often than not, they're going to ash hand effects. And you have so many ways to get the Junk Synchron, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah. Caligo becomes way, I guess, a bit more important now. It's always been important in the regard of negating the junk, or the junk not being able to bring back the level 2. It's a similar case, except now there's Crow in the meta. So majority of the time, what's going to happen is you'll summon junk, you'll try to revive Converter or Doppel Warrior, or anything for the matter, and they'll preemptively Crow, because that's the only way they can Crow. You know, they can't save the Veiler for the speeder, so it kind of telegraphs that they might not have Veiler, you know, because they'll just Crow that, you know. But there's no other opportune moment to use Crow, so why not do it there? And that's where this guy comes in. And once again, he just summons itself and he makes speeder anyways. Jester, same thing. Jester, it's basically the counterparts, right? This is with him, this is with him. And if you've watched the last video, I mentioned how I really like this. Is a bit more versatile because it like allows you to have a play after your speeder gets negated, assuming it does negate it, because most of the time it will, for the most part. But if it doesn't, then you're fine. But for what I mean is, like, you'll summon this Search Illumination, you have it engrave. If they negate the speeder, you tribute the speeder, special this, trigger trail, summon Doppel, right? And you can continue after that. Whereas if you were to summon Junk Synchron, you summon Junk Synchron. If you don't have this, it's very limited things you have to do, because that would mean that you would need to open up double this to even go for a ruler play. And yeah, it makes it really weird. And then of course, I was playing Walker this time. I wasn't playing Walker in that video, but Walker's just too good to not play. It's just amazing what it does. And the fact that you can like summon this, summon back the level 2s, or this guy like this, right? And make a Baron with these 3. And then special Caligo to give your speeder a layer of protection is so cool. And it was happening quite a lot. And to top it off, because you're playing I'll show you when we get to it. Mirror, Destrudo, Trail, and Jet Synchron. The bricks that you don't want to draw. I mean, this is like this and the Ant are the ones you don't really want to draw. These are the ones you hate drawing these. There's a case where you don't mind drawing this, because you can like special Jester, special Caligo, and then pray. hopefully the Excel line gets you there, because it can get you to speeder. But yeah, you don't really want to be drawing that. Destrudo, we have Destrudo. And this is what I meant. If you open up like this,
target, right?
Yeah.
And it's any target?
Yeah. Target wants 2 hand traps, and then even if they do have 2 hand traps, if you do this route where you go summon Stardust effect, right? You'll have access to Trail at that point. And then if you have doppel in hand, right? So when you went like this, that's like you go special, right? You go special like this. So like the fact that you have this ensures that they have to have 3 hand traps to stop you, because you'll go summon effect, your search illumination, right? Have access to that. Special goes speeder, they stop you there. Okay, it's fine. Tribute to speeder, trigger, trigger, right? Then trigger, and then if you went Sauravis on the speeder after they Veilered you or impermed you or go Veiler, that means okay, they burn 2 hand traps. So if they have a third one, okay, fair enough. They have it. But if they don't, then you just basically full combo anyways, because you do the Excel line and then they're depleted 2 hand traps or 2 cards, and you're gonna at least have 3 negates. So, you know, it makes it a bit easier to anticipate your opponent's hand when they only have 4 cards to your 3 negates, you know, compared to having 6 to your 3, you know, that it makes a big difference. It was a bit weird because there were some times where I had this and it did nothing, but for the most part, it was quite useful. There was a time while I was going up against Mathmech and I lost to Ogre. Of all cards, like this deck should not lose to Ogre, like ever. But for whatever reason, that match, I lost to Ogre twice. Game 1, I got Ogred, I lost. I was like, what the heck, can he OTK me next turn? The game 2, the same thing. He bringing Ogre me and drolled me, and I was like, this is not meant to be happening. What the? It's just not meant to be happening. Like, Veiler Imperm, that's like the deck Kryptonite. But not Ogre, and I guess it just ended up working out. Yeah, it was weird. And then, of course, you have your triple tuning. Triple tuning is so good in this build because you're maximizing on the Jesters and your Caligos, because it means that you can open up a variation of tuning and these guys, right? Compared to not having this at all, and you're basically forced to just hard open whatever synchron you might have. Whereas if you open up this, it boosts the deck's consistency. Right? Overtake's just insane. Yeah, there's not much to say about that. It just makes it makes these plays way better because you play him. So if you open up Overtake this and have Imperm or Veiler, it doesn't matter. Same thing with this, because you always love opening up these two. Overtake in either of these two, and if you have this, it's hard to interact with your speeder because they can't ash you, so that only leaves Veiler Imperm. You know, and then you just negate one, and then, you know, then of course you have your one-ofs, Rhoda, Foolish, Dragon Shrine, Illumination. And then, of course, you have your Reborn. Thank you, Harrison. Got a Prismatic Rare. Looks so nice. Midbreaker. And then I put this in last minute because I didn't want to lose the tournament traps. Like, even if they just end on one, that one trap is quite significant because they book and they stand and they can just reestablish a fusion, which is kind of annoying. And just in case off chance of playing like a rogue deck or a backward deck or like trap decks, you know. And it's, for the most part, it's also imperm. So like, if you notice, there's like no interactive cards. It's just basically I want to be as consistent as possible if I win dice roll, because that means you'll win game 1, you'll side accordingly games 2, and if you don't win game 2, then you go game 3, you start off consistent again, you know, with the sideboard that you would put in. Typically, would you take out this and put an anti-spell, and the deck stays intact, and you should be fine. Because you're playing 6 non-engine cards to protect your speeder. Because like I mentioned before, majority of the times you lose with this deck is when speeder does not resolve. It's rarely that you lose to one speeder resolves. If speeder resolves, it's hard to lose one speeder resolve. It really is. And then you have the side deck, right? I was still testing this, the Epsilon and the Gamma package. This is like basically because Red Lotus has been going around lately. Anti-spell, D-barrier. You don't want to be losing to D-barrier. It's really annoying. But mainly for anti-spell and D-barrier. And now deck type 6 virus, the virus cards, those are being played quite quite recently. Is quite annoying. So you rather have something to account for that, because like I mentioned in the previous build, I think a few videos ago, where the justification was you rather have this than engine or combo, because if you open up combo, it does nothing if you're facing their win con, you know. So like this kind of gives you a chance to fight against their win button. Because if you don't have this, you're just gonna lose to their eradicator. You're gonna lose to the anti-spell. You're gonna lose to the D barrier. You know. Of course, it's a bit situational because the cards you require to fulfill this theory, but that shouldn't be any different from what you're trying to accomplish, anyways. Because you want a variation of cards to combo together. You know. Whereas this is meant to be dealing with that problem that you're now facing, right? And to prompt those, you play Storm. Storm prompts the back row, so you can force the Epsilon. Same thing with this. This Storm forces the negation to prompt the Gamma, which is really nice. And then of course you have the Dark Ruler, and then the one I should have played more of this card because I was not seeing it enough, and I should have played more of this card. I'm not sure if what I would. I'm not sure what I would change, but I know I should play more of this card. Or Red Lotus. Red Lotus should be a pretty cool one. But yeah, that was a side deck, and majority of the time, what you side out would vary. It depends. But yeah, you just side out. You'll touch like the search cards. You'll like touch this stuff. You touch the Sauravises. You touch your tunings. One of this. Sauravis. Yeah, and then sometimes I'll take out a converter if I'm feeling kind of weird. I don't know, but that's typically what you side out and what you mess with. Everything else, I feel like you can't really touch because you don't want to play one of these going into games 2 or 3 because you still want to have the chance of drawing this. Same thing with this because a lot of your plays that help you play past the established board just opening up this with the Strudo because that ends up being your Yugioh play. Yugioh pop. So that's 2 interactions that they have to consider and interacting with. But like these are fine because you don't really want to be drawing converter going second because you don't want to be like you just don't want to do that. Sauravis doesn't really work versus everyone, so you can take that out. You can keep one if you want, but I always saw myself siding them out because I would just put all this in, right? I would like put this in. Depending on the matchup, you don't really need to put this in, but a lot of the times I was putting this and I was putting the double driver because a lot of times they don't expect you to gamma them on their turn and then gamma them on your turn because they just think, oh, gamma's already, their driver's gone. And of course it's very like adding 2 bricks, right? That's the simplest way I can explain it. You don't want to add 2 bricks, but like it's just you can't account for it, you can't anticipate for it, and that's where it's obscurity will win you the game because they don't expect it. They can't. How could they? You know, because it's so outrageous, it's so crazy that you would not consider it as in the slightest. Like me with Ogre, I was not thinking about Ogre. I was not. But I should now. I should have not. I should have not. It's pretty wild. Have your extra deck, your Shaman, Metal Marcher. These 2 are so good, man. Cupid Pitch, Herald, Excel Synchron, Junk Speeder, Junk Warrior, TJ Hyper Librarian, Stardust Charge, and of course your Yazi, and then like your main Omni negates, right? Oh, I guess this will be Omni as well. Your Omega, Crystal Wing, Chaos Ruler, Hot Red, Baron, and of course the tokens. I mean, the extra deck is fine. There's nothing to change really. It's very standard until we get like maybe the XL Shooting Star Synchro, maybe. But even then, I don't know. But then people have been saying that this might get hit, but I'm not sure. Because if it does get hit, then you have to take these 2 out. I mean this guy out, because there's no real way to make this guy. Yeah, this now. So then that opens up the slot. So that means you can put 2 more cards in. So if I don't know, it really depends. Yeah, I don't know. We will see. But yeah, if you want tokens, link is in the description. These are super handy. Just keep track of double tokens. Awesome. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Hopefully enjoy the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.